Welcome, Leo, to your December 2019 reading. I'm Jenny Florence. Guys, welcome back to any of you who have already been following my readings. Guys, you are awesome. I am utterly blown away by your likes, shares, comments, and especially the way in which you've been in your comments sharing aspects of your own journey and your support of one another. You know, we are really building the most really beautiful community here, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. For anyone who is new to this channel, the AZ Emotional Health, we are all about personal growth, about navigating life from a position of empowerment, using readings to do that, in fact using a great many resources to do that. Guys, I put a lot of free resources into the world, so do please check out the information box below. There's lots of details in there. I also give away a free private reading every month to one of my subscribers. And in the build up to Christmas, because I think Christmas is a time of giving, I'm actually in the first week of December going to be giving away 10 copies of my new diary, The Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary 2020. I'm not going to talk about it now. I'll tack a little video on at the end for anyone that's interested in finding out more about it. But I will be giving away 10 copies in the first week, so watch out for the announcements. And I will then be giving away more books and more private readings as well as we build up to Christmas. So guys, we're going to draw runes first. Actually, before I do, I'm just going to let you know I was drawn to the energy of quartz crystal, and I have many crystals, as some of you who watch my readings will know, but I was drawn particularly to these two. We have a quartz crystal wand, which is used very much for healing and for guidance, for cleansing, for developing intuition. We also have a quartz crystal ball, which is really very much used for divination, for receiving illumination, receiving, I want to say receiving guidance, but the two together, and I was particularly drawn to both together, and dowels to make sure that they were the right energy for this reading. The two together speak of, it's sort of almost like creating a connection between the earthly and the divine, so that you yourself become a channel of energy. You know, a bit like as I do a reading, I trust what I hear, I trust the messages that are given to me, and it's as though that's the flavour of the energy that is around you for December. I'm going to say opportunity to receive a kind of a sort of almost an upload of clarity, of inspiration, illumination. Illumination is more the word. That's interesting. Our first rune is the rune of wholeness. Magical rune. This speaks of the path you must follow. It's about source energy, which is interesting because that's exactly what I was speaking of with the energy of the quartz crystal. Becoming a channel for source energy, connecting into a greater universal consciousness. This rune speaks of wholeness, regeneration at a cellular level, deep, deep cleansing, but with an energy that helps you to follow or to discover your true pathway in whatever area of life you are seeking or looking for that at this moment in time. It kind of keeps you on track, I would say. We then have the energy of flow, the rune of flow. The rune of flow speaks of the ebb and flow of sort of life cycles as we flow into being. It's the ebb and flow of emotions, of careers, of relationships. It also speaks of the awakening of intuition. Very powerful energy connecting here with these. I can actually feel it. My legs are kind of tingling, which is quite interesting. We then have the rune of partnership. The energy of partnership is around you guys. Now, this can mean intimate partnership, love relationships, or it can mean business partnerships. But the energy of partnership is around you. What I am hearing is you're being invited to sort of, it's like to become whole within relationships. Now, for some of you, it may be that you enter into a space of healing within relationship, or within a relationship. I think, relationships are the place where, to be honest, we get hurt the most. But they are also the place where we can heal the most. But we have to be open and available to that possibility. And the energy is around you for that. It's really, really rather, as I said, both lovely and powerful. It feels, I want to say it feels like a river, but really pushing forwards, like a strong, strong tide. That's what it feels. So something is flowing through this month for you guys. Very much connected to relationship. As I said, for some of you it will be a healing through relationship. For some of you it could be entering a new relationship. It could be entering a business partnership. It may even be the upgrading of an existing relationship, or of you working out how to hold your boundaries within relationship. But one way or the other, something of you being you is being invited within partnership. And our last rune is the rune of fertility, new beginnings. This is a rune of great, great power, and it asks us, it's like an invitation, we need to complete something. It speaks of completion of beginnings. We need to allow ourselves to, it's like, I always sort of describe it as crossing the T's, dotting the I's. We're needing to attend to something in order to be able to be whole. I spoke of boundaries. If there have ever been boundary issues for you guys at all within relationships, you might need to be firming them up. You might need to be stating your perspective, your point of view, not conceding. And by that I don't mean that we don't compromise in relationship, but compromise should be a negotiation over, to find a pathway that works for us both. It doesn't mean compromising your core self. It doesn't mean compromising your true values. That's not a healthy compromise. That's the kind of energy that's at stake here. And I think for some reason I'm hearing you get to see something clearly. Something that has maybe been muddied or not clear to you. I think you gain clarity in some way this month. I'm going to move the runes up here and we will draw our cards. I'm going to be using, first of all, a very old and trusted tarot pack. And I should also say, people have been asking in the comments what cards I use. In the information box below, you'll find a link to a card page on my website. And every pack I use is on there, ever. Oh, wow, guys. They were photographs. I've also put photographs on, so if you're drawn to a pack of cards, you should be able to find them easily. But right, enough of that. Wow, the Lovers. This is choices in relationship, guys. We have a new beginning. We have a move forwards. We have energy that, this is almost like, for me, a card of apprenticeship. It's like you decide to set sail. You decide on your direction. For some of you, maybe you make a commitment. But either way, choices are involved here. Maybe you're needing to work out what direction to flow into. Wow. We have 3 cards that have come up. I'm just going to put those out of the way and bring these up. First of all, we have the 10 of Cups. Now, this suggests ongoing contentment. It's a lovely energy. It's also it's what I would call a card for me of relationships that speak of honesty. We know who we are. It's like one person, it's contentment and the kind of bond that comes from, loving someone for who they are. We don't need them to be someone they're not. Back to this energy of wholeness. We have a card of justice. Again, evaluation. Making decisions. You're needing to weigh something up here this month. And then we have the card of the world, which is to do with completion again. Completion of beginnings. It doesn't feel like a completion that's an ending. It's like completion of a stage of something, a phase of something. Now, for some of you, it may be you have been in the early stages of a relationship, or if you've been dating more than one person, you know, if you're internet dating and you're checking people out, I think you kind of come to a point where you get to maybe make a decision in some way. Either way, you're being asked to evaluate, but with whatever your choice is, evaluate them from a position of honesty. Honesty isn't even the right word, it's realness. That's the word that's really coming through. It's to do with realness. The rune of fertility, we have to fertilise the ground for our own delivery. We have to be real with ourselves. Okay, if we're not real, when we meet people, we tend to idealise them. We fall in love, we put them on a pedestal, they put us on a pedestal, and everything is beautiful and rosy, and so it should be. It's amazing. But there comes a point when we have to shift to a space where we actually see people for who they are. We also have to allow ourselves to be seen for who we are. It's this rune of wholeness. And I'm going to say that's quite a vulnerable position to be in, because relationships are the space in our lives where we often get hurt the most. They are also the space where we can heal the most. So really an energy of potential. You've got choices to make. I think you kind of get to make a commitment, but there is an invitation to make a commitment on the basis of you being you. Wholeness. You do definitely get to evaluate, and there is, as I said, it's a completion. For some of you, it will be like if you've met someone, a relationship moves to, it's kind of like you've moved the first step up the ladder. You reach that space of kind of like you were just dating and now you're committed to being a couple. It's that kind of flavour. Or if you're in an existing relationship, maybe you upgrade it and you get engaged, or you make a commitment to live together or move in together. It's got this forward motion about it, this forward motion energy. But you do so with awareness. If this is speaking of a business partnership, we are looking at a lot of prosperity, I'm going to say. Again, you make that commitment. You have a vision, a shared vision. So whether this is business, personal, it feels as though relationships upgrade a level in whatever way, shape or form that is impacting in your lives at the moment. And that's therefore this completion of beginnings. You're able to move on to the next phase, the next step, because you've come to your conclusion, you've made your decisions, you've evaluated, you're moving forwards from a position of awareness, and therefore there's a solidity, a sense of solidness about it. It's a very strong energy here. So guys, I'm now going to draw from a second tarot pack. Oh, Queen of Discs. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous energy. You've had to work hard to get to this place of decision making. You've been through a lot. In fact, I would say you've been through possibly quite a lot of choices that have not been easy to reach this point, whether this is business or personal. You've been making choices, you've been learning, you've been making choices, you've been learning. And this card really speaks of the end of a challenging period. It speaks of being able to review. Now this is very important. The review, the evaluation is important here, because if we can't look back and evaluate how we got to where we are, We're not in an empowered position to learn from our experiences. But this card says basically an arid stretch is behind you and the energy is now with you to move forwards to more prosperous times. So whether this is personal relationships or professional relationships, it's a relationship orientated reading. However, the relationship aspect of the reading is sitting on the foundation of you being you, if that makes sense. You are being called to remain yourself, be your whole unique individual self, the path you must follow. It's really important, I'm going to say, not to, as I said, do compromise, but compromise means negotiation with two people, let's say, or two or more, I guess, if it's a negotiation. But ultimately, I'm talking about compromises where negotiations are based on the needs of all parties in an equal way, and that's what's being needed, that sense of realness. But this is lovely. The energy for you guys is moving forwards. I have to say, I know several Leos, and they've really been through, wow guys, this is awesome. They have been through so many stop-starts, that's what it's felt like, particularly within relationships. And so, very interesting, Queen of Discs, Princess of Wands. This is magical because she's emotionally free. She has released the tiger of fear. That's the sort of language that comes with this card. This is a card of liberation where she gets to be herself. She no longer has to comply or pretend to be something she's not for fear of, being rejected. If I use that emphasis on sort of the insecurities that, I don't know, they're just so human in relationship. I think we all feel them. And, she lets go of that. She can be herself. And as a consequence, there's an energy of confidence around her. She's done the work, she's moved, and I'm using she because they're feminine cards, but these are not gender orientated. We have the card of the universe. Magnificent. Again, new beginnings, new opportunities, new possibilities. This card actually says, if miracles are not happening around you, then something's going on. So that's the energy of this card. It's full of possibility. The center of this possibility, this flow into being, is your ability to make choices that are in alignment with, I'm going to say, the path you must follow, but this is the pathway of the spiritual warrior. This is the pathway of wholeness, of your personal integrity. That's where it's sitting. Don't compromise your personal integrity. Compromise in the way that you negotiate stuff, that's cool. But don't compromise your personal integrity. That's the foundation upon which you get to kind of manifest, I think, or allow to flow into being a new chapter of life. Very relationship orientated. And we have the Two of Cups. We have the card of new relationships, new beginnings in relationship. Occasionally this can mean the ending of a relationship. If it does so because that ending is needed in order to create space for a new beginning. So guys, I'm actually going to draw from the Art of Manifestation cards next. We have the card of opportunity. This is lovely. This card speaks of new opportunities, although they may not necessarily come in the form that you were expecting. That's interesting. Be alert. Look beyond the obvious. Now I get this energy here. Look beyond the obvious. Be prepared for opportunities disguised as loss. If a new pathway opens for you, trust that it is leading you in the direction you are meant to go. There is an emphasis here on in facing decisions, and I think some of you are genuinely facing big decisions in relationships. In facing those decisions, trust your intuition. Really, really trust your intuition. If you are concerned about walking through a door, sit, meditate, receive those sort of downloads of insight and illumination. Trust your intuition. Whatever you do, base your decisions on integrity, on that pathway of the spiritual warrior. Everything here is actually moving forwards for you. There's a lot of promise, but there's also, this card has a feel of almost like having to take a risk, stepping into a new beginning. And that means we have to sort of shed the tiger of fear to do that, especially if we've received any kind of hurts in relationships in the past. Wow, guys, this is very powerful. Synchronicity are seemingly random coincidences showing up in your life. This card asks you to listen to the signs and take them seriously. You are tuning into the universal energy of a greater collective consciousness, and these synchronicities are arriving in your world to guide you. Listen. Wow, this really does feel absolutely appropriate to have had this stunning quartz crystal ball and the quartz wand. This is the universe really supporting you in creating shifts, making decisions, finding the changes that you need. And then we have open yourself up to possibility. I mean, wow. Almost everyone holds some limiting beliefs about themselves. These perceptions block us from receiving the infinite support of the universe. This card is an invitation to reassess and to look beyond these limitations and to recognize that in opening yourself to possibility, you automatically invite positive change into your life. Wow. I feel as though you really are offered the opportunity literally to move into a space where new directions may be shown to you. That's what it feels like. But the only way we can do that is if we are open enough to receive and to connect with that kind of universal knowing. It's like listening to your soul. And that, of course, is this energy of wholeness, the rune of wholeness, the path you must follow, source energy, regeneration at a cellular level, deep, deep cleansing so that you can attune yourself to a higher knowing. Very, very powerful reading this, guys. I'm going to draw from the astrology cards next. We have a lunar eclipse, change. Very much changes afoot, followed by the card of the moon, soul. I can really see why this rune came out first, the rune of wholeness. This is about changes, but changes that are in alignment with what is right for you. If we think of a human life as a journey of, let's say, a series of lessons for our soul to raise to higher levels of frequency, to higher levels of consciousness. And the human life is so perfect for that, mainly because we are so full of paradoxes and complexities and life challenges. But actually, that makes a human life the perfect vessel for the evolution of the soul. It's almost as though there is this shift here, completion of beginnings, okay? Touching the world as well, but this is what it feels like. These two cards feel connected in some way. The Justice card, evaluation, being ready to weigh things up and to recognize in a way how you have played a part in things as well. Sometimes this card speaks of our ability to really weigh things up and evaluate. It's like we get to integrate experience with knowledge, which is basic. That's wisdom. You know, we put wisdom into our bank of knowledge, and we move ahead from a position of, I'm going to say, liberation with awareness. This is where we begin to be able to manifest very new possibilities in our lives. But I do feel you guys have an opportunity to be attuned to a higher, greater universal consciousness that universal energy. You know, when everything moves in flow and you just think, it's almost like you think something and then something appears that shows you the way. Or this is the energy this month for you guys. It's absolutely mind-blowingly powerful, actually. It's about you being you, trusting yourselves, following your intuition, allowing synchronicity to work and operate for you and around you. I'm just going to now draw a couple of cards from the Moonology pack. Okay, now several have leapt out onto the floor, so you'll have to bear with me. So we have a card, the one at the top, the only one that was upright. Nothing is yet set in stone. Decisions. And I'm hearing again, trust your intuition. Okay, we have a card, you are good enough. I'm just going to move this over, place this here. This is a very powerful message because everything in this reading points to a need for you to be centered in yourself, in your own belief in yourself, your own knowledge, that you have the absolute entitlement within relationships, whether it's business or personal, to navigate from a place where your needs are taken into account as much as the needs of others. So I'm going to just share something, if I may, which is, I often talk to people about, let's say they're going for a job interview. I will actually say to them, you know, they're often really worried, will they want me, will I be good enough, you know, all this sort of stuff. And I always say to them, turn that on its head. When you go, consider that, let's say you're going to an interview, consider that you are also interviewing them. Because why would you want to get a job if it wasn't right for you? You know, it would be a disaster. You'd be dreadfully unhappy. You know, it would be awful. So, and it's kind of the same in relationships. We do actually need to evaluate and assess one another, but we need to do so from a position of realness. If we apply for a job, if we enter a relationship, we enter a new phase of relationship, it's absolutely fine to learn to negotiate and to compromise, but not of our core values. And sometimes we do compromise our core values because we have some aspect, some residue of self-doubt that has been lingering in some way, usually connected to a past relationship of some sort. You are being asked to put that behind you. I think you actually know what that is. I think you know it, you understand it. This is almost like, this completion of beginnings. It's almost like this tiny little residue that still clings, that just needs to be washed and cleansed away. And then you are free to sit back, understand where you've come from and move forwards into this space of co-creativity, trusting in this time of change that opportunity, synchronicity, possibility are all working for you and around you. Well, guys, this is one of the most powerful readings for December in terms of insight, illumination, possibility, transformation. Very, very powerful. So wonderful, Leo, Sun in Leo, Moon in Leo, Leo rising. So much love to you. Guys, do look out for the announcements through December when I let you know who will be receiving free private readings, who will be receiving diaries and other books. Just keep your eyes posted for those. If you are subscribed and part of this amazing community, make sure you press the little bell icon as well, and that way you will get notification as soon as I post any new videos, readings or otherwise. So much love to you guys, so much love. The Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary 2020. Welcome, guys. So what is this diary about? Basically, I put it together because I couldn't find what I was looking for out there in the world. I could find various other diaries, but nothing gave me all of the components that I actually wanted to literally be carrying around with me. For a long time, I have been fascinated by the way that the incoming energy and planetary influences affects us each individually, particularly in relationship to our ability to be consciously manifesting the things that we desire in the world. Now, anyone that knows me very well will know that not so long ago, my world was not particularly in a great place. I faced some huge challenges, and I really worked very hard at understanding how I could turn things around from the inside out. And in many ways, this diary contains a lot of the information that I had to go and search for, sort of collated in a format that I think makes it very accessible and easy to relate to and engage with in terms of your own personal journey. You will find in the diary a breakdown of the steps of manifestation as I have come to understand them and use them in my own life. You will also find information about the different phases of the moon and how to use that energy in terms of your own process of manifestation. You'll find information about the energy of the moon as she travels through the zodiac signs, and also what happens when she's in between signs and her energy isn't being channeled in any particular direction. You'll find information not just about Mercury in retrograde and how that energy affects us, but also Mars and Venus, the warrior planets, in retrograde. In the diary pages, you will find a week to view page with positions of the moon every single day. And of course, also most importantly for me, as this is something I have been really looking for, next to the week to view, there is a page where you can actually journal and make your own personal notes and reflections. It means that this diary can become a personal record for you in your own growing ability to understand the incoming energy and use it to its absolute fullest. So guys, I am going to be giving away 10 copies of this diary in the first week of December, so please watch this space. That will, obviously it's a subscriber offer. But guys, thank you so much for being a part of this amazing community. And do look out for the announcement of that, and also look out for the announcements the following week, because I will also be giving away further copies. There is a proper journal that goes with the diary as well, and I'll be giving away copies of those in the second week of December. So much love to you guys, so much love.